Gamerheads Podcast is part of the Little Fellow Media Podcast Network, sponsored by podcast host Budsprout, the easiest podcasting software for hosting, promoting, and tracking your podcast. And welcome to another episode of Gamerheads Reviews. Today, we are talking about the game Fantasy Strike, which came out on the PlayStation 4, PC, and I played it on the Switch. And Mike, you're a fan of fighting games, right?
I love me some fighting games, absolutely.
So
it's from ever since Street Fighter 2 hit the arcades, through Mortal Kombat, Marvel vs. Capcom, Tekken, all those good stuff. So I'm really interested to hear how this one turns out.
Yeah. So this game was created by Sirlin Games, and David Sirlin, who is the owner of Sirlin Games, he worked on Super Street Fighter Turbo HD Remix, and there's a lot of, I will say that there's some influence of that in this game. The game itself is a fighting game. It's very cartoony, and I liked that. It was great. It was a different. It was very much like an arcade game. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. So there was very influenced in the arcade aspect of it.
Nice.
So with the game itself, there are maybe 8 different characters, I think. And each character is unique in the fact that they have different style of fighting. So you have like the grapplers, or the bulky characters that are strong. They're slow, but they are able to do a lot of damage. Then you have the characters that are a lot more quick and fast paced. They don't have as much health, but they can certainly strike very quickly. And then you have characters that are more of like the strikers, which are like the distance kind of players as well, so they can do a lot more. Yeah, exactly. So they have more projectiles as well. So there's different categories of characters in the game, and then there's the wild card characters, which just kind of fall into like their wild card. They just kind of do different weird things. So the game itself, there's different modes that you can play. You can play online. And the online community is actually pretty good with this game because guess what it has as well?
Crossplay?
Crossplay, except for PlayStation. PlayStation will now allow them to crossplay, but you can play with Switch and PC players.
Awesome.
Yeah. So when I was reviewing it, there was actually some people that were out there playing the game because it was on Steam Early Access. So I was playing against other people, but when the game actually launched, it was awesome. Just the amount of people that were playing, and they incorporated things that weren't in the game when I was reviewing it. So one thing that I really liked about the fact that there's online games, there's a tournament you can play in. So you join a tournament, and you can play through a tournament. So let's just go into the tips and tops of the game so I can kind of talk through all those things and talk about what I really liked about the game. So so I'll start with the online play first. So the online play, like I said, there's you can play casual games, you can play ranked games, which puts you into a tournament. And I've never played a game like this before, Mike. So in the tournament itself, you can pick up to 3 different characters, and then you play through each one of those characters in the tournament. So, like, let's say you and I are going to play against each other. We each get to play each one of our 3 characters that we picked. So you might win the first round with that character that you played, and then I might win the next 2 rounds with the characters that I picked.
Gotcha.
And it's random. So you pick your characters, and then it randomly selects which character you're going to pit against the other person. So the thing I really like about this game, and this plays into that aspect as well, is that anybody can pick this game up. You don't have to be like really good at fighting games.
Yeah, and that's, as much as I love fighting games, that's also one of the things that have aggravated me, is that the games have been improving in terms of mechanics faster than I can catch up.
Yes. And so that right there, I think, was the thing that I get frustrated with games like Mortal Kombat. I love Mortal Kombat, but man, like, you have to know a lot of inputs, and when I get online, I get my butt kicked because I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, right?
Yep.
This game simplifies the inputs. It's great. So you have your basic attack, and you can hit it and it'll do one attack. So like, so I'll use Rook as a character. So he's one of the characters in the game. He is a stone golem. He is one of the slow brutes. So he has a basic attack, which just is like a kick. So he does this power kick, and it's a sliding kick. But then if you hit the same attack and back, he'll do like this rushing punch attack. If you hit the same one and you're jumping, then he does another attack. He does these like vine spinning things. But the thing is, it's super easy to pick up on the controls. That's my point. And then he has some grapples. So a grapple with just hitting the grapple without any other button input will do one kind of grapple. But if you're like jumping up in the air and do a grapple, he'll do a different grapple. But it's easy. It's super easy to pick up. And it's with every character. Every character has their basic attacks, and then if you move, you use a different like move, like either going forward or back, it'll do a different attack with that. So the attacks are easy. It's simple to pick up on. It's not complicated control schemes, but even with that being said, there's so much depth with the game because there's strategy involved with the game. So if you have like a character like Rook, and you're taking on like a character Setsuki, which is a speed character, you have to like really understand like how your character is going to be able to play against somebody that's a fast character, where your strengths and where your weaknesses are, and you have to pay attention to that. And it's so fascinating how like simple the game is, yet how complicated the game is, because there's strategy to the game. It's not just button mashing, and I love that about the game. It's so cool. Yeah, it was great. That's awesome.
That sounds like that's right up my alley too, because like I said, I've come to enjoy watching other people play fighting games more so than participating in fighting games. Yeah. But this one sounds like it's easy to pick up and play, but if you want to really get into the depth, you can.
Yes.
Does this have like long drawn out combos and like finishing moves and stuff?
So there are combos in the game. But they're not like 20 hit combos, right? So you can put certain moves together and create combos, but it's not going to be something where you can't do anything if somebody's like landing like 20 hit combo on you.
Gotcha.
You're not going to have those issues. And the other thing I like about this game too is the fact that they've set up videos for every character. So you go into the menus, you can go to tutorials, and I was streaming it yesterday, and our friend Matt, who used to be a host of the show, was watching me stream it, and I showed, one of the tutorial videos, and he said, "Oh my gosh, it's set up like Netflix," and I never thought of that, but it is. It's like it has all these videos, and they have somebody narrating it, and you can watch the video, and they talk you through the strengths and weaknesses of every character and how to play every character. Fascinating.
Oh, that's cool.
I've
never seen that before.
I know. It was great. It was in depth, and they walk through every strategy, and if you're playing against one of those characters, it talks you through like how would you defeat, if you're playing against Rook, how would you do this? How would you defeat Rook? Or if you're playing as Rook, how would you handle different moves, and like what are some things you want to think of from strategy wise? So there's a lot of thought and process put into this game. And each character, like I said, the movesets are all the same. I mean, in regards to like how to do different moves, right? Like there's not complicated, but each character is so unique and individually designed that no character plays the same. Even though the inputs are the same, no character plays the same, and it's great. Mm-hmm. I just find that so fascinating and really refreshing in regards to like playing fighting games. So that's the mechanics of the games. There is the arcade mode where you can play as a solo, and you can go through the arcade mode and play through a story for each character that you pick. There is a daily challenge, so it pits you against just a rush of enemies, and then you beat the enemies, and then you only have one life. So if you lose against one of them, then it stops your progression there, and it shows you how you ranked against everybody else that played the daily challenge that day.
Okay.
There is the online play, there's a rank play, which I mentioned before, which is a tournament style, and then it gives you rank. So if you like the tournament I played in, I made it to the finals, Mike. I made it to the finals.
What?
Yeah, I lost in the finals, but I made it to the finals. But then it levels you up as your character, and then it also gives you like different ranks as well, like different medals and stuff like that for how far you made it, like the semifinals and stuff like that. So it's in depth that way as well.
There's in-game rewards and stuff.
There's not in-game rewards, like there's nothing that you unlock with that stuff. It's just like trophies, kind of. Like,
Gotcha.
Just like, hey, I did this, like I earned this like ranking, I guess. And then there's casual play, so you can play online against people just for casual play. And then there's friend play as well. So if you have a friend that has this game, you can play against them online as well.
Nice.
Yeah. And then there's boss rush for a single player as well. So solo play, you can play against a rush of bosses. And then there's survive mode, was just a thing that's similar to the daily challenge. So that's the tips and the tops. I mean, this game is easy to pick up. Anybody can play it. There's strategy to the game, but it's not complicated. There's very little in regards to the flip and flop. I would say the only thing that I wish... I found it kind of funny, but and interesting. So if you're playing the arcade game, and you're playing through the arcade, you can actually skip an enemy and can keep going with the story, which is kind of cool. Like if you're struggling with a character and you're like, I just want to get through this and see the story, you can do that.
Yeah.
But you can even skip the boss at the end. Like if you can't beat him, they're like, if you lose, you're like, you want to skip him? And you're like, sure. I just skipped to see what happens, and I got the cutscene at the end, the story.
Well, that's convenient.
Yeah. The other thing that I will say, like, there is some voice acting in the game. It's not the greatest voice acting.
Oh.
Like Rook, especially, like he's my guy. He's my jam. I like Rook a lot.
Yeah.
I was expecting, so he's this big rock golem, right? I was expecting like my name is Rook, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
He didn't have this gravelly voice to him. It was kind of like, my name is Rook. How's it going? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I was expecting like this deep, dark, scary voice for Rook, but I didn't get that. I didn't. I was
So
just
it's kind of like Korg from Thor Ragnarok.
Yes, exactly. That's really funny that you mentioned that, but yes. But overall, the game is fantastic, Mike. I think when I was playing it, I kept thinking of you. I'm like, oh my god, Mike would love this game.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and it looks really interesting. I'm looking at right now screenshots of some of the like the super moves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they like cinematic and flashy?
Yes. So that's kind of cool too. So there's that's the other thing I should mention. So there's a bar. There's a like a super move bar, right? So once that fills up, you can do your special move, and each character has two special moves: one in the air or one on the ground. And what's great about the special move is that you can carry that over to the next round. So you don't have to refill it again the next round. Awesome.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've used that several times to beat my opponents, is like save that to the next round. But yeah, it's a really good game. I really like it a lot, Mike.
You have piqued my interest, sir.
It is a little pricey. It is $30 on the Nintendo Switch. But I will say this, I actually think it's well worth the $30. It's great.
Nice. I'm glad. I'm really. This really is interesting to me, and I'm really glad to hear what you're saying about the online component. That there's a big enough community that you'll be able to find a match.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that too, because the fact that, the first day it came out, I was like, well, I'm gonna jump online, like when it was available to other people, and I was able to find matches fairly quickly. I was really surprised by that, but I think it's because of the crossplay aspect too.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you can play casually with friends as well is awesome.
Yeah.
And the other thing I will say, it runs so smooth. Oh, it's like butter, Mike.
It's like butter.
It's the game plays really well, and there was no lag issues, nothing. I was streaming it Saturday, for the Saturday Morning Serial series, and so if you want to see some of the gameplay, you can just go to twitch.tv/gamerheadspodcast, and you can see some of the gameplay there.
I will check the VOD right after this.
Yeah, it's. I think if you're a fan of fighting games and you are getting frustrated with the fact that games are moving away from the arcade and becoming more realistic, this is definitely a game for you.
Nice.
So my final grade for Fantasy Strike, I gave it an A. It's great.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a good game. Definitely, something that I think that if you're a fan of arcade games, like I said before, you're a fan of like the Street Fighter games, certainly something that you want to look into and pick this game up.
Awesome.
All right, that's all that we have for this episode of Gamerheads Reviews. Thanks for joining us, and Mike, thank you for joining me as well.
Always a pleasure.
Catch new episodes of Gamerheads Podcast every Sunday on Buzzsprout, Google Play, or iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Check out our website at gamerheadspodcast.com.